What's up, everyone? Mark Lobliner, tigerfitness.com. Let's talk about fasting. So I drive a lot, okay? I'm driving back and forth to my headquarters in Ohio. I live in Nashville, Tennessee. That's a 5-hour drive, so I watch a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of podcasts, but it's not like Olympia stuff. It's not like bodybuilding stuff. I usually watch like Rogan. I love Tim Pool. I've been on Timcast before, and I'll watch things like High Intensity Health. If you don't follow him, he's actually a great guy. I like a lot of what he does, very science-based, which I try to be. I do go off and get a little bit bro-ish once in a while. That's because I believe that I've noticed as I try to follow the science more and more, and I do incorporate mostly science in my program, I do realize that the body is not a textbook, and sometimes things just work, and there might not be a scientific explanation, and people are individual. So I tend to go off the science path a lot, because I just simply want to find what works. And remember that before science comes anecdote, right? Like Arnold Schwarzenegger didn't have access to the data we have now. He just trained and found what worked. And for him, that was training with high volume, high frequency, which we're espousing to now. We're going back to that. We're going back to hitting, body parts multiple times a week and looking at overall volume. And it's amazing how people are like, well, follow the science. I'm like, well, in order to figure out what we need to study, we need to do stuff first, right? And that's where fasting comes into play. Now, fasting is something that's fascinating because it's been around since the dawn of time. One is you had to fast when you were a caveman and you're hunting. You don't just have food available in your refrigerator. It would go bad. Like you're living in a cave, you're hunting woolly mammoths. Like humans fast. We've been fasting the entire time. And then it's been incorporated in religion from Islam to Judaism, from Muslims to Islam to Judaism, same thing, whatever. There's fasting involved to Catholics, right? So fasting is not just dietary. It's not just holistic. It is actually spiritual. So getting into fasting, what I've noticed, I was watching High Intensity Health, and this gentleman's like, I saw a title of his video and I had to click on it on YouTube. I'm like, why am I not fasting anymore? I'm like, this is great. So I'm watching it. He's like saying like he's making gains. He doesn't want to fast during training, this, that, and the third. I'm not going to, again, subscribe to his channel. Good guy. Like I watch him. I love it. I subscribe to his channel. Great guy. It's called High Intensity Health. I'll link it down below if I remember. If you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching somewhere else, then go to my YouTube. I need the views anyway. They suck. So let's go over why people would fast, right? Like why is fasting? I'm going to try and use data references as I go. So one reason people fast is because people like being lean. People like losing weight. So weight loss and fat reduction. So this does have some data. A 2014 review reported that intermittent fasting can lead to a 3 to 8% weight loss over 3 to 24 weeks, which is a significant amount compared to other weight loss intervention. The study also found a decrease in waist circumference, indicating fat loss. And this is done by Varady KA et al., alternate day fasting for weight loss in normal weight and overweight subjects. So in the Nutrition Journal in 2013. So here's the thing. Later studies, as we continue to evolve, found that a lot of the data that showed fat loss and fasting could directly be correlated with the caloric decrease caused by the time they weren't eating. So while they only had, let's say, a 6-hour window to eat, a normal day, that'd be 16. More opportunity to screw up. Another one would be improvement in metabolic health. Intermittent fasting has been shown to improve insulin sensitivity and reduce blood sugar levels, which is beneficial in managing or preventing type 2 diabetes. I mean, that's awesome. That's awesome, right? Heart health. Studies suggest that intermittent fasting can improve various risk factors for heart disease. It's been shown, demonstrated in some studies to lower blood pressure, reduce cholesterol levels, and decrease triglycerides, done by Sutton EF. Brain health. Research indicates that intermittent fasting can aid in the growth of new neurons and protect against brain damage, and it might increase the brain hormone BDNF, which may aid in prevention of neurodegenerative diseases, cellular repair, and autophagy. It might increase the body's ability to initiate cellular repair, which is autophagy, where cells digest and remove old and dysfunctional proteins that build up beyond cells. So longevity, these are animal studies. They suggest that it may extend lifespan. Again, these were done on animals. Okay, I don't believe there's been any human data that I can find that shows longevity, but this was This was, let's see, it was in the Aging Research Reviews in 2017 that was published. Reduction in inflammation. Some studies indicate intermittent fasting may reduce markers of inflammation, key driver to chronic diseases. Okay. That was in the Proceedings of the Nutrition Society in 2020. And cancer risk. There are animal studies, not human studies, and early stage human research that it might lower the risk of cancer. Again, this is very, very, very preliminary. So then you go into why would someone not fast? Like, I know I discussed in the first point why that can be correlated with decreasing calories, but like you could probably, other than the animal studies, which we really you could probably attribute all of these things to reduction in calories, right? And autophagy, you want to know a way to increase your autophagy? Exercise, weight train. That will do it. That will do it. Autophagy does not have to be reached during fasting. There are many ways to increase autophagy. Weight training is one of them. Okay, exercise. Caloric control, adequate protein, adequate essential fats, and exercise are great things. So here's the deal. Why aren't people fasting anymore? So, the thing is, it's all about adherence, right? So Stuart Phillips, you might have heard his name at McMaster University. He found that adhering to things is number one. If you have a diet you can't adhere to, you're not going to do it. So intermittent fasting, at least for me, not having breakfast as someone who's tried intermittent fasting for me was really, really hard because I like eating breakfast and I like eating my eggs before 10 a.m. Okay, I'm not gonna have breakfast all day like IHOP, bro. Like I want my eggs for breakfast, and I just like breakfast. It's something I enjoy, and I feel a lot of people are saying, well, you wake up, you cook your breakfast. For me, it's just something that I look forward to every day. I look forward to having breakfast at breakfast, and even if that's bad for me, I like it. Here's the one thing. So exercise performance. This is what high intensity health and others have pointed to. So studies indicate that fasting may impact performance negatively. So I'm sending out a newsletter multiple times a week or even every day. It's going to have deals. It's going to have articles. It's going to have exclusive stuff from me. The algorithm has not been good to me on YouTube, on Instagram. I don't know why. Maybe it's something I said. But anyway, go to markglobal.com. It pops up. Put your email in there. That's all you have to do. You get all that stuff for free. In a study published in the Journal of the International Society of Sport Nutrition, my buddy Joey, Doug, those guys, authors argue that time-restricted feeding can compromise energy availability and affect performance. So let me kind of dive into this, right? So we have all this data suggesting that intra-workout, pre-workout, and post-workout nutrition can be beneficial. For example, the study in 2009 that I helped fund on branched-chain amino acids, my product Machine Fuel, you drink it during training, showed tremendous gains. 9 pounds of lean mass gains and 4 pounds of fat loss in 8 weeks, controlled diet and training. Okay, and I'll post the study down below if I remember, okay? And so we know that also with studies mainly fund, I'm throwing out who funded this because a lot of people say if you fund studies, like certain people, like they fund studies, they're going to be wrong or they're going to be bad inherently. At the end of the day, there aren't many like public service organizations funding studies on athletes and healthy young males trying to gain muscle. If we don't fund the studies, if Gatorade doesn't fund the studies, if my old company didn't fund this study, the study's not going to get done. You need money to do a study. So we have to, unless you're willing to put up, and these studies cost $300,000+. The Gatorade studies can cost upwards of $1 million+. Unless you're willing to put down the money and disprove these studies, we're arguing just nothing because it costs money. These universities don't do studies for free. You can lower the cost by doing these studies in India, but no one's going to take that seriously. So you got to plop down the few hundred G's to do these studies. So like the study, people are like, oh, well, you funded it. Like, okay, fund a study, prove me wrong. Bottom line is you can't afford to. So what am I supposed to do? Fund another study to disprove myself? It's insane. So it can affect your performance negatively. I noticed this firsthand when I was fasting. And that's why I wrote a book called Performance Fasting, and also why we came out with Ambrosia Hydroglyph. Hydroglyph is not only intra-workout, but it is a fasting formula where if you're fasting and you take it, or if you're intra-workout, keep in mind you're in a catabolic state when you train a lot of the times. So what you do is you want to have those free-form amino acids. You want to have the EAA. You want to have the BCAA. You want to have other things, right, to make those amino acids work well. You have velocitol, which doubles the power of protein amino acids. And then you have HMB, which reduces the catabolic effect of fasting. And that's where and of course, electrolytes. Electrolytes will help you not crave things when you're fasting or not be as hungry. So Hydroglyph is here. Hydroglyph is a fasting formula. And created this because, I'm going to go, save that for the end. I'm going to tell you why I still fast and why a lot of my partners and associates still fast. Why Chris Jones fasts, right? Emphasis on individualization. So ISSN, again, their stance that diets should be individualized, and while intermittent fasting might work for some, it's not the best choice for all athletes. Another thing is, since we noticed that the data was showing that it was mainly the caloric restriction causing the fat loss, for most people, just losing weight will make them healthier. It will improve all their markers of health. So instead of just having to starve yourself and miss out on eggs and toast, why not just control your calories, measure your food, enjoy your meals, and cut those calories? Because you're going to get all the benefits. And if you weight train, you're going to get all that autophagy. And here's a thing. I don't know if any of these guys, but I did read this the other day. I do think it can cause some concern for eating disorders or triggering an eating disorder. So there's a literature review in the Eating Behaviors Journal that noted the potential risk of fasting diets contributing to disordered eating. This is done in 2018. Again, I'm not holding that as a reason these guys aren't fasting. I just thought I'd throw it out there because a lot of people who follow me have had some form of eating disorder, from orthorexia to anorexia to bulimia to just caring too much about food. So with that being said, why would we still fast? If I'm going to fast, and I do occasionally, I have Hydroglyph, at least a scoop during my fast. I'll sip on it, put it in a jug like this, right? And if I train during a fast, which sometimes will happen, Hydroglyph is a must. Again, the HMB, velocitol, amino acids. Some people argue that free-form aminos break the fast. I'm like, okay, as long as we know the benefits of what the fast is. Now, what are the benefits? Number one is, there was actually a quote by Joe Rogan. He was being interviewed by Tim Kennedy. He said one of the 3 ways just be better at life is to do something hard every day. Whether it's weight training, whether it's running, whether it's cold plunge, whatever it is, do something hard every day. Nothing is more difficult for me than fasting. It is hard. It is very hard. I have a super fast metabolism. I don't have the biggest appetite, but I get hungry frequently. Does that make sense? So for me, that is just the worst. It is the absolute worst. So by me being able to go till 2 o'clock from, let's say, 8 p.m. the night before fasting, for me, I feel just like I accomplished something. It's hard, and it forces me to really focus on focusing. As someone, I'm not going to say I have ADHD, as someone who has trouble sometimes focusing on one thing and multitasks too often, fasting forces me to focus on my focus, which makes me better. Another thing is, a lot of people just like having an empty stomach. I know my partner, Sean Torbati, he will go all day without eating and just eat at dinner because he feels that he works better and just thinks better fasted, and he trains better fasted. I don't think I've ever seen him eat before training in the last 5 years. Mike Rashid does it for his spiritual purposes, as well as I believe he's always been really good at not eating. Like, he's always been that guy who, even when he was getting ready for his boxing matches, he's always been good at that. Chris Jones, health benefits, caloric control, things like that. But that's why we still fast. So I recommend, if you do fast, take Hydroglyph. I currently try to fast at least once a month. It's been difficult lately with my travel schedule. I don't like to do it while I travel. For some reason, I just don't. I like to do it when I'm sitting at a desk on an off day from training, and I try to I just try to make it where I can focus on focusing. I hope that makes sense. It helps me focus on focusing, which makes focusing twice as hard, which I need. I need that adversity in my life. I live in Brentwood, Tennessee. My life is too good sometimes, right? When I travel, it's tough. When I'm at home for a sprint, I'm like, man, I need something difficult, right? So should you fast? The answer is it depends. You've heard the negatives. You've heard the positives, right? You've seen, I've read off some of the studies, okay? Should you fast? The answer is it just depends. It just depends on if you think it'll help you. But if you're looking at strictly fat loss and you know how to measure food, you know how to control your calories, there's absolutely no need. If your calories are equal at the end of the day, whether you ate them in a 6-hour window or a 16-hour window, I honestly, based on my interpretation of the data, don't think it'll matter. But on that note, let me know what you think. Please comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. Do you intermittent fast? Do you think it's beneficial? Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think I'm right? Well, comment down below, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Again, tigerfitness.com. I want to let you know it's November 8th on Thanksgiving night at 11:59 p.m. Black Friday goes off at Tiger Fitness. And we have the best free gifts ever. I've already launched. We're having this sick hoodie. Amazingly sick hoodie. We got this body bag thing, I think they're called. It's like a big fanny pack, but it's really dope looking. We got so many things. Of course, huge discounts. Black Friday at tigerfitness.com. I'm going to let my list know about it first. So I want you to sign up at marklowbliner.com. That's marklowbliner.com, marklowbliner.com. I send out multiple newsletters a week with savings, with just good. I write letters to you guys because it's stuff I don't publish. It's stuff that I just thinking about. And I like to talk to people, and that's a way for me to do it in writing. I like to express myself that way. Sign up at marklowbliner.com. And again, be sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel, click on the notification bell, and of course, remember, I can still do it. That's not a game. The outright bar was created for my kids. My kids need a snack to eat during soccer tournaments, and also I wanted a bar for myself to eat pre-workout, post-workout, and also throughout the day. You want your outright bars right now. That's why we have a partnership going with the Vitamin Shop to make sure that we're in all 750 plus locations, providing the best price, the best service, the best people to give you the outright bar when and where you need it.